Thank you for attending the very first session of the Education Equity Summit Series, Building Equitable Environments in Our Schools. Over this last year, I've had the chance to visit schools to see how they were dealing with the pandemic. And one of the teachers I met was coming to his classroom every day, even though his entire class was virtual. When I asked him why, he explained that he wanted his students to understand that this space was special. He wanted them to know that it belonged to them, even if they couldn't be there in person. And he told me that what educators really do is create community. And that's exactly what drew me to teaching. As educators, we want our classrooms to reflect the best of our country, a place where all students can learn, where they feel welcome and loved, a place where those who are falling behind get the support that they need, where students have the chance to see that our differences are precious and our similarities infinite. We hope to create communities, but educators and students, we can't build those kind of classrooms by ourselves. For many years, schools across the country have grappled with issues of inequity, especially for students of color, those from low-income homes, students with disabilities, and English language learners. As we recover from this pandemic, it's on all of us to ensure we don't return to the same broken systems of the past, but build back better than before. And that's exactly what our administration is committed to doing. We're going to make sure classrooms have what they need to address disparities by dramatically increasing funding for Title I schools. We're going to make sure that 3- and 4-year-olds have access to preschools. We're going to reimagine how we serve families everywhere, including by creating more community schools. And on the anniversary of the Olmstead Supreme Court decision, let me thank you all for the work you do for students and disabilities. The President is committed to supporting that work by fully funding the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Today, we hope to share some of the evidence-based practices and promising strategies that are delivering results for our students across the country. And we hope that what you hear today will inspire you to bring these ideas back to your own classrooms and schools. All of us have a role to play. The author Bell Hooks wrote, "There can be no love without justice." I've always found that love is at the heart of education. Love of learning, love for the world we share for our students, and love for the connections we build in our classrooms. And that love must go hand in hand with equal opportunities, with equity for all students, with a just educational system. So thank you for joining us today and for all that you've done to support families in your schools throughout this last year. Together, I know that we will build the loving, just communities that every student deserves. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce a dedicated school employee from Walla Walla, Washington, the 2021 Recognizing Inspiring School Employees winner, Mr. Melito Ramirez.
Hello, and welcome to the United States Department of Education's National Equity in Education Summit. My name is Melito Ramirez, and I am an intervention specialist at Walla Walla High School in Walla Walla, Washington. Every day, I work with students and families to ensure that all students are provided with the support they need to graduate and be successful. My experiences have taught me that equity in education means making sure that every student has the support they need to be successful. It requires understanding the unique challenges and barriers faced by individual students. True equity will require looking at all aspects from both a larger systems perspective and an individual student's perspective, and then providing those additional supports or resources to help them overcome those barriers. We might not ensure equal outcomes, but we should all strive to ensure that every child has an equal opportunity for success. Last month, I was honored to be selected by Secretary of Education Cardona as the inaugural Recognizing Inspiring School Employees of the Year, also known as RISE Award. Therefore, it is my pleasure at this time to introduce him as my fellow educator who will provide opening remarks for the first event of the National Equity Summit. Please welcome United States Secretary of Education, Dr. Miguel Cardona.
Thank you, Melito, for the kind introduction and more importantly, for all you do for the students we serve. You are a shining example of what it means to serve. Eres un orgullo latino. And thank you, Dr. Biden, our First Lady, for your inspiring words. But more importantly, for walking the walk. Despite the pandemic and the transition to the role of First Lady of the United States, you continue to teach your students. Your passion for teaching and ensuring that your students have what they need exemplify what it means to be a great teacher. Thank you for your service to our country as a teacher and for lifting the profession and purpose we have as educators focused on equity. To my colleagues who've signed up for this important Equity Summit series, thank you for taking the time to join us. We hope that through your engagement, you'll hear strategies that match our collective passion to make sure that we look at this reopening through a lens of equity. I don't have to tell you that the inequities in education have been a constant since we've been collecting data. I don't have to tell you that the pandemic exacerbated inequities, not only in education, but in other critical areas such as health and economic stability. Well, we are here today because we plan to do something about it. This is our moment in education to boldly address the patterns of inequity that have been pervasive in our schools. This is our moment to ensure that we reopen, we reinvest, and we reimagine our schools differently and better than ever before. If we go back to how it was, we would be returning to a system where you can predict outcomes based on race and place, where the color of your skin and zip codes are better determinants of outcomes than the actual aptitude of our learners. This is our moment to have the difficult conversations about how to build back better, how to lead transformatively, and how to use every penny provided by the President and Congress to ensure that the most impacted by the pandemic receive the most support. We've often heard and maybe even exclaimed ourselves that education is the great equalizer. Well, now's our chance to prove it. The funding is there, the urgency from the President is there. Are we going to lead through this and come out stronger? Or is the temptation of complacency going to dissipate our call to action? I remember growing up listening to hip-hop icons Public Enemy, and they encouraged challenging the system and fighting the power. Well, now we are the system. It's on us to make the change. It's on us to make the change we want to see in our country. In many places, small incremental change is not enough. We need innovative and creative leadership fueled by urgency. The resources are there. At the federal, state, and local level, we must act. These next months and years will determine the trajectory of success for millions of students in our care. This is our moment. President Biden and Vice President Harris have made equity a core priority. It's why the American Rescue Plan is ensuring that schools not only have the resources to reopen for in-person instruction quickly, but they're also focusing on investing in meeting the social, emotional, and mental health needs, as well as the academic needs of the students most impacted by COVID-19, who are often the same students who are furthest from opportunity before the pandemic. It's why the President's American Jobs Plan, American Families Plan, and the rest of the fiscal year 2022 budget provide unprecedented investments in educational equity. There's universal pre-K and free community college, supporting $100 billion in investments in school infrastructure, more than doubling funding for Title I schools through new equity grants that will incentivize states to address inequitable school funding systems. by investing in our educators and building a diverse pipeline so every student from every background can be supported by teachers, mentors, and staff who share and understand their experiences. By doubling the number of school counselors, social workers, and school psychologists. By taking a huge step toward fully funding the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And just last week, we affirmed that Title IX protects students from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, making clear that every student, no matter who they are or who they love, have equal access to educational opportunities in our schools. Last week, I visited Harvey Milk High School in New York City. There, I heard from students about what they want to see in our education system. They spoke of wanting a system that's free from discrimination for students who are LGBTQ, students who have disabilities, or students from different racial backgrounds. They spoke about a system where all students had access to tools needed for learning, like broadband and technological devices. We know that many rural communities and poorer communities still don't have that. Collectively, we owe the students at Harvey Milk High School and every student across the country exactly that. A school that promotes equity and access in its DNA. Equity in education is about providing all students from all backgrounds in all parts of the country with the resources and support they need to succeed and to thrive in our society. It's about providing them pathways to contribute to their community and make the world a better place. Equity is not a passing buzzword, but an ongoing, continuous effort to make sure every student feels supported in their classrooms and in every educational environment. That's why this summit isn't a one-time event for us, but something that will be infused in all of our work at the Department of Education and across the administration for the next 4 years. To advance equity, we must innovate, share promising practices, and work together to create the education system that all of our students deserve. A system where students are at the center, while recognizing that for far too long we haven't lived up to that promise. I hope you find that spirit and unwavering support in the Department of Education's Equity Summit series. And now, it's my great pleasure to introduce our musical guests for the day. Please enjoy a wonderful performance from the Roma Independent School District Mariachi Band from Roma, Texas.
Hello, Secretary Cardona, and hello, U.S. Department of Education. We are Mariachi
Nuevo Santander
from Roma High School, and my name is Eloy Garza, Musical Director, y es un gran honor estar aquí con todos ustedes.
We're honored to share with you a piece of Mexican folk music known as a son jalisciense from our beautiful border town in the city of Roma, Texas, to D.C.
We hope you enjoy our music, La Música de Mariachi, and that it lightens your hearts with joy and happiness.
Feel free to get up, dance, and let the music move you.
We present to you the award-winning, nationally recognized Mariachi Nuevo Santander from Roma High School.
Enjoy!
Muchas gracias. That was a great performance. Thank you for sharing your talents. I'd now like to turn the program over to Deputy Secretary of Education, Cindy Martin. Cindy has fought for equity throughout her career. Prior to being appointed superintendent of San Diego Unified School District, she spent 10 years in one of the city's most ethnically diverse and economically challenged school communities, at Central Elementary School in City Heights. I can't wait to collaborate with her on the issues that matter. Again, thank you for joining and enjoy the rest of the day.
I'd like to take a moment right now to acknowledge the historic marking of Juneteenth as a federal holiday this weekend, and it's an important moment to remember for our nation and important for us to remember to work towards equity. I also want to wish everyone a very happy Pride Month. As you know, the department recently confirmed that Title IX protects students from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Our schools should protect and welcome all students, and the department stands with our students of all identities. As we work to reopen schools this summer and fall, we have an opportunity and we have a responsibility to reflect on teaching and learning and best practices and what did and what didn't work, when we all had to rethink what it meant to be a student, to be a teacher, a principal, and more. And we had to do this on a moment's notice, almost a year and a half ago. Now, with the benefit of hindsight and, quite frankly, the luxury of foresight, we will build back better with urgency, intentionality, and joy in the service of every single student. To me, equity means that every student gets what they need to succeed in the classroom, and they get it when they need it and in the way that they need it. That is our vision for reopening and beyond for America's students. This commitment is what helped me connect with students as a teacher, build community as a principal, and it helped me successfully reopen San Diego schools this April with a focus on the social, emotional, and academic needs of the whole student. I also must recognize that today is the anniversary of the landmark Olmstead decision. This decision solidified Americans with disabilities' right to access supports and services in the community, and I'm happy to announce that by the end of the summer, the Department of Education will be releasing guidance on the unique challenges and opportunities in reopening for students with disabilities. It will address some of the most pressing needs and the concerns elevated by families, advocates, and educators to provide clarity and direction and attention to this community. This guidance, you'll see, is centered on the lived experience of students who may have experienced the most significant loss in instruction, services, and community connection during the pandemic. And I'm honored to moderate today's discussion on best practices in centering equity in elementary and secondary education with a panel of distinguished practitioners from across our country. We're joined today by a good friend and colleague, Dr. Pedro Noguera, Dean of the Education School at the University of Southern California. I'm going to start actually with Dr. Noguera, if you don't mind. We'll start with our first question, and then as I get to the rest of the panelists, I'll introduce more of you as we go. But Dr. Noguera, we'll start with you. Although the pandemic's effects, we're going to be studying these for years to come, and you've done a great job in contributing to the field and studying what happens. We know already that for many students, the educational gaps that existed before the pandemic in access, opportunities, achievements, outcomes, they appeared already to be widening. But it's important to understand, how did we actually get to where we are? And so if you can help us start by zooming out, what was the state of our public education system before the pandemic? And what factors do you think, in your opinion and view, are well documented? What were the long-standing persistent inequities that existed even before the pandemic? I know it's something you help us always understand.
Thank you for the question. It's so good to be with you, Deputy Secretary Cindy Martin, a well-respected educator whose work in San Diego, I think, speaks to why you're in the current role. Yeah, we've known for many years that the strongest predictor for how well children will do in school is family income. We can predict that with great consistency. We can also add to that, that in many places, it's the backgrounds of kids with respect to race, neighborhood, income, special needs that are driving outcomes. And what this suggests is that too often, rather than serving as a pathway to opportunity, our schools are reproducing inequality in our society, which is the opposite of what we would hope for. Now, the good news, we know there are exceptions, and many of the districts we're going to hear from today are the exception. They're proving it need not be the case. We've known that already, though. Many of us have come from low-income backgrounds, faced adversity and challenge, and used education to improve our lives. So we know it's possible. The real challenge that we face is how do we make that happen for more kids? And while the pandemic set us back, there's no reason why we have to stay back. And as you said in your opening remarks, if we can think holistically about the needs of children and recognize how their social, emotional, psychological needs are related to their academic and intellectual needs, there's no reason why we can't produce better outcomes for all kinds of children across the country. And this should not be a controversial issue. This is really at the core of why we have public education.
Thank you so much. You said it so well, and I've been a student of your work for many years. As a teacher, I started following your work. So to hear you today help us set the stage for today's gathering, I really appreciate that. Let me move on to Alejandro and Olivia. Thank you for joining us. And you know, both of you, DC Teacher of the Year, counselor, you are on the front lines with students every single day. And you both see these inequities that Dr. Noguera just talked about. You see them pan out every single day. So maybe you can talk to us about some of the barriers that you've observed for the students that you've worked with and that you serve. And how did you and your school community shift during this pandemic to close the gaps and to meet the needs?
Thank you for having us. So one of the barriers in our community is that we have a very high percentage of concentrated poverty, and it shows up in our students' lives daily. However, we had this huge shift from this deficit narrative and saviorism when we started to bring in trauma-informed practices. We recognize that students don't just have ACEs from outside our school, ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, but they may come into school and experience trauma. So what we worked hard to do was embed those trauma-informed practices, work alongside our community to build those, ask families to come in and to educate us on how we can better serve them. And then we also, our superintendent envisioned for us project-based learning. So bringing in our students' lived experiences and then building on those schemas that they already have. And that came together really beautifully with the trauma-informed practices that I had been preaching for so long. So that's just how we've moved forward.
Olivia, that's wonderful. You show how you've taken, you didn't just wake up in the pandemic and figure out, oh boy, we better figure things out. You built on some of the things that you said you've been talking about for so long, and you built on that and then were prepared to meet the moment. And I really love what you said about saviorism, that we're not about, this isn't about saving people from anybody. This is about how we build a community and work together and get this work embedded. And I know, Alejandro, you have some fabulous stories to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thank you for having me on this panel. So I teach at Aton Elementary School in Ward 7 of Washington, D.C. And this community is a community that's rich with culture, but has been underserved for so many years. And the Aton community, I mean, it's a wonderful community. And we have found success with leaning into our community members and bringing families to the table in order to fit the needs of all of our students. And this started about 2 years ago when we were trying to address a chronic absenteeism issue that was going on at our school, where students were missing, several days of school, which definitely hindered on their learning. So what we did was we brought students and families to the table and surveyed our families, and we found out a lot of interesting information. And by opening up those doors to our families, we were able to understand that where our school is located is a laundromat desert, meaning that there were no laundry services around, and it wasn't safe or adequate for our families to travel safely to get those services done. So we reached out to the programs that we knew and some of the resources, and we were able to get laundry services in our school site. And we really found success with leaning into our families. And we did that again during COVID-19 when we brought families to the table and they shared that they didn't have access to internet or computers, and we were able to get them access to that, which is so important in a year like this. So, you know, like Olivia said, bringing families to the table and including families as respected stakeholders in this conversation, you know, we were able to make decisions that best fit the needs of our students, which not only led to academic growth, but an overall better school experience.
So good to hear that, Alejandro, the way that you leaned in. It must be so affirming for the families and the children that you serve that you leaned in and didn't assume that you had the answers. And we define equity as students get what they need, when they need it, and the way that they need it. And we know students by name and by need. And your ability to lean in and bring families to the table, like you just said, is so affirming, and giving them exactly the supports they need so that they can access your brilliant teaching. And sometimes for you to be able to do your job well, the kinds of things that had to happen, you solve those. It's wonderful to hear that. Your community must just know what a treasure you are. Thank you. And let me move to Alberto and Rosemary and ask this next question. Before we can begin to imagine, you heard the Secretary talk about imagining and reimagining the education system, and it's a system that actively fights inequity, fights against inequity. We must take the next best step. And so I'd like to know how you're centering equity for our students who are furthest from opportunity now, particularly students with disabilities, so that we can ensure that they have what they need as they start to re-engage their learning. So maybe talk about what are the ways in which you can get to know each student, like I said, by name and by need, so that you can better understand what they've been through the past year as they start to re-engage learning going forward. And either one, Alberto or Rosemary, you can toss to each other, whoever wants to start.
I'll start. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here on behalf of White Plains. First of all, we use a lens of equity in every decision that we make or consider for our children. Every child is an individual, and we seek to eliminate any barrier to their success while in our school district. First of all, for our students with special needs, we seek to educate them in district wherever possible with all the necessary accommodations and support that they need. How do we do this? We do this by an integrated co-teaching model, which we use very successfully in our district. This provides access to our students to the general education curriculum. I've seen it in work, and it works beautifully for our children. In addition, during the pandemic, our students with special needs had in-person, in-school education every day where possible. Again, we thought that this would really hone in and maintain the continuity of their educational experience. Lastly, our Administration for Pupil Services created Coffee Talks, informal sessions with parents of students with special needs gathered to meet the administration, get to know the administration, exchange ideas. Tell us about your child. Tell us what we can do to make them most successful. This mode of communication, collaboration, and most importantly, trust in what we do for our students with special needs really continues to elevate our children to their individual successes. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you very much. And again, Deputy Secretary, it's a pleasure to be speaking alongside virtually such a remarkable group of individuals. Look, I'll get right to it. A lot of what Pedro said and what's been said since he spoke is so true. Number one, we need to stop fooling ourselves as a nation, as educators, as policymakers particularly, in recognizing that opportunity gaps and achievement gaps and unfinished learning actually preceded the pandemic. There was a crisis in America that preceded the pandemic. That crisis, unfortunately, has worsened dramatically for those students who had the most fragile of conditions. not just the conditions that we observe on stage of the classrooms of America, but the conditions that are usually behind the curtain. So the social emotional issues that children face, the home insecurity, the food insecurity, the lack of access to health care, all of those are stressors and contributory factors that impact their ability to learn. And the fact that no community in America that I know at this point guarantees the in front of the curtain and behind the curtain equitable conditions appropriate for learning, there is a lot of work to be done. So I wanted to start by saying that kids in crisis today are at a deeper level of crisis, a darker level of crisis that requires a more articulate, more direct, more individualized approach to each one of them. That's why here in Miami-Dade, we married the issue of equity with choice. For if you approach a one-size-fits-all theory of action for students, you're going to lose particularly the most fragile. One size fits none. We need to meet children where they are, regardless of their condition, clearly understand what I refer to as front as well as back of the curtain conditions, and address them not only in the classroom, but in collaboration with community organizations, in collaboration with not-for-profit organizations to address the opportunity gaps that so often precede the academic gaps. Being very specific, because I think the interest of the viewing audience is, so what are the strategies? Look, right now, one of the silver linings of this pandemic is that we have become more data rich than ever before, more technologically connected than ever before. But that does not mean that we have translated into well-informed people on the basis of their use of the data. And the fact that you have a lot of data that may or may not necessarily be well used does not necessarily predict that the practice will follow, the best practice will follow. So in Miami-Dade, we've actually taken the time at the beginning of the pandemic of identifying the students in greatest need in developing what we call learning loss indices specific for each student and providing that information to our principals, to our teachers, so they knew who was at greatest risk. We surveyed parents and students to understand what the critical needs were in terms of technology access, in terms of connectivity, in terms of learning loss, in terms of social emotional support, whatever they needed, in terms of food, daily food needs. The next thing we did is we began to anticipate the fact that this tragedy was going to be followed by a significant investment possibility. And we began to develop the solution well before federal earmarks were actually appropriated. So we had ready to go strategies specific to, and I'll just give you a couple of examples, intervention materials for tiered interventions, meaning not every child is going to get the same level of intervention or the same type of material. Otherwise, you're just throwing a wide net. We are very strategic in the approach. Additional reading and math coaches, additional mobile devices for students, not just for the year that we concluded, but for the long haul. Funds for tutorial services, but on demand and at ratios that actually address the needs of the students. And it's not a tutor that changes every time. It's a highly qualified, highly certified, highly dedicated, high-will, high-skilled tutor who actually knows the child, knows the family. Expansion of pre-K programs to bring universality in terms of opportunity versus via access. Expansion of wraparound services for particularly elementary age kids, but all kids. And then let's not forget two last elements. Specialized professional development for our workforce, beginning with our teachers, but everybody, to recognize the academic needs of students, but also recognize the social and emotional needs that kids will return to school in August with. And last, we can do everything right with our teachers, everything right with our kids in the classroom, have the right levels of support if we do not sensitize the parents and educate the parents on the opportunities that are available and actually increase their skill set, we are missing out on opportunity. And here's the last best practice that I would convey. Look, every kid now in Miami has a device and has connectivity. That portal is a portal for family and parental learning. So through our Parent Academy, we are providing support to the parents to create an echo of learning to narrow the existing gaps. They are so pervasive across America.
Thank you so much, Alberto, for making it very concrete, the connecting the vision for today, but also what are the real takeaways and what can we actually do right now to make a difference. And what Rosemary talking about the coffee talks and the co-teaching model, so things are integrated. You're hearing real-time practices. Alberto, the term I think you used was the veil is lifted or the curtain is pulled back. I think I called the veil lifted, but it's pulled back, and what do we find is a path forward, and a path forward for our students, understanding what they need and giving it to them in the way that they need it and when they need it. So really very practical strategies, hearing straight from Superintendent down in Miami-Dade. Thank you for those really practical strategies. Let me move to another question about what it's going to look like when we see our students. We're looking forward to seeing our students returning to campuses in person, and we're all looking forward to getting back to some semblance of what feels like normalcy after so much isolation and loss. If we ever talk about the pandemic and don't recognize true losses that have happened, we're forgetting part of some things that families and communities have been through. But as we think about what we're all looking forward to, I want to ask Principal Kafele and Rosemary, I want to ask, how do you think that we can harness the momentum and the urgency that we all are experiencing in this moment? How do we harness that urgency and momentum so that we can better understand the needs of our students, and specifically their social emotional needs, and for those that have lost the most instructional time, and when things in their communities might look and feel kind of normal in some communities, but we know that there are losses there. What are the ways that we can go about harnessing the momentum now? And you could go in whichever order you want.
All right, let me jump in here. Let me first say I'm honored as well to be on this panel. I thank you immensely for the opportunity. You know, listening to the question, the operative word for me, the word that really jumps out is the word normalcy. And for me, and probably for everybody on this panel and everybody in education, normalcy is not a place I want to go back to, because we've all been fighting to transform schools, to change schools, to change opportunities and possibilities for young people. And normal, I think about why I came into education in the first place. And I came in because I wanted to be a change agent. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of things that need to be changed. You think about the theme of this conference and the inequities that exist. We think about the very basic definition of what equity is, meeting young people where they are, as they are. There's a whole lot of young people who walk into schools every day as they are, and their needs are not being met. So what we have to do moving forward, we've got to assess, well, what is it about normal that we don't want to bring into moving forward? What is about that? And then as we move forward, what are the things that we need to change? And particularly, again, just stay consistent with the theme as it relates to equity. What is it that we can do that we meet the needs of every youngster that walks into that building, but looking at it through the lens of an administrator? What is it that we do that we support and meet the needs of every staff person in that building as well, in that district as well, every teacher? So I want to do an analysis of what was before versus what it is that we can do now. And I also want to look at the opportunities that the pandemic has presented. And one of the things that stands out for me in terms of opportunities that were presented are these platforms, these virtual platforms, because this is not going anywhere, and it doesn't need to go anywhere. Because just the short answer, so I can yield to Rosemary, I think about the access that a school has to parents that we may not have had in the past in terms of just getting parents to come out. Now, I wouldn't need them to come out. I just need them to have access to the internet. It could just be the phone. And I could literally have whole school, meaning parents, meetings literally every week, every Monday night, the state of the school message, and then dialogue with the parents, and then break out into breakout groups and have smaller sessions with them we can do things that we could never have done before as it relates to just parent relations. So there's a lot to say there, but I'm gonna yield to Rosemary.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this question, first of all. And when I look at this question and I think about it, I think about the urgency of the moment and social emotional needs. It all starts with positive and trusting relationships and a commitment to each child. We know in White Plains that we have to support social emotional trauma before we can get to academic success. It's something that we have to address. There will be lingering trauma from this time. What can we do? What are we doing? As an example, we have instituted school mental health clinics where family can seek the assistance of a licensed clinician right in the school. And when I think about that, a licensed clinician in the school, a service that many of our students may need, when they need it, where they need it. When I think of what you said, Deputy Secretary, that is where that clinic hits me. What our students need, where they need it, available, accessible when they need it. Let me also add that in White Plains, our teachers during the pandemic, our educators reached out and touched base with our students. The question, are you okay? How can I help? What do you need? It is that type of relationship that paves the way for schools to reopen and for children to come back knowing that the caring professionals that they left are still there. And they know that because these caring professionals reached out to them during the toughest time of the pandemic. It is so critical to address those social and emotional needs, and making a clinic so accessible is one mighty way that we are doing our hardest work. Thank you.
I don't know if I have a favorite question yet, because you guys just keep raising the bar here, and each of these answers just get more and more beautiful in terms of really the specificity and the examples. And Principal Kafele, thank you for what you talked about around bringing parents. And I remember as a principal, I put my principal hat back on, and what it was like when I started a Family Friday and 1 or 2 families would come, and by 2 years in, we would have 200 or 300 families. And now what you just cast a vision for, it was a school with 1,000 kids and 200 or 300 families would come. There's opportunity here about bringing more families together in those ways. And Rosemary, you added something new to a lot. I always say equity is each and every student gets what they need, when they need it, in the way that they need it, and where they need it. And as a principal who built a school-based health center, I know what it means to bring services right onto the campuses to support students. Let me move to Olivia and Alberto. Another question for both of you. Before the pandemic, I keep going before and now and what's next, LGBTQ students, especially LGBTQ students, youth of color, and those with disabilities made up a majority of the runaway and homeless youth due to peer harassment. I know we know about this. Lack of school support and affirmation, isolation, or even intolerance in their own homes. And those factors were exacerbated greatly during the pandemic. And so now, here we are, 2021, it's already a record-breaking year for anti-trans bills introduced in state legislatures, and some have even become laws. And the Biden administration and the department are committed to ending discrimination of LGBTQ youth. What can schools do to ensure our LGBTQ youth feel included, and not just included, but welcome in their school environments and their communities?
Well, look, I can't believe that we're in 2021, Madam Deputy Secretary, and we're still having a conversation about schools needing to be safe and welcoming environments for all students, that we still need to create safe spaces for LGBTQ students, which is a necessary conversation, because the sad reality is that not all schools, not all environments are equally safe for all children. So here are, again, from a pragmatic and practical perspective. Number one, visionary boards that care about all children establish visionary protective policies for all students. And I am proud to say that the School Board of Miami-Dade has created not only supportive environments, but has also adopted policies that are protective of all students, that address the needs of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning students, that negate and deny discriminatory practices on the basis of anything for all students. The second thing that is important is beyond the policy, again, is the implementation, the applicability of that policy. And what that looks like in Miami-Dade is very, very specific and very easy to see. All of our student services professionals, all of our counselors are especially trained on the needs of the LGBTQ community. All of them have resources for referral within school or beyond school for the students as well as their families. We have also advocated for and assisted in creating the Gay Straight Alliance, the GSA clubs within our schools, so that every single student can feel that they belong, because they do belong. And the ability to make these connections of young people with community entities, community events outside of the school system. Equally important to us was the creation of a district specialist. This is an actual professional who leads the School Allies for Equity network. We call it the SAFE network. And this is our district's version of support programs for every school, professional development programs for every school, ensuring that each school has an active, productive network liaison who serves as a resource to the students and the parents. So pass policy, invest resources, make sure that there are points of connection and staff that is trained and available to the students. Then connect the students to the outside community for all of the great things. When there are challenges, the appropriate resources and connections to address those challenges. And last but not least, demystify. This is not just dealing with the LGBTQ community. This is about demystifying it for everybody else, destigmatizing it, and sensitizing the overall student community in our schools. So it's an all-for-all approach in Miami-Dade when it comes to this very important issue.
Thank you, Alberto.
Yes, he summed that up so well. And I think I would just reiterate that it is 100% our responsibility to see our students, to recognize them, to value them, to have every single relationship in our building. It's our responsibility to humanize students. And so that is where I always come from at the micro level at an elementary school. Is this, I look from the lens of equity, is this humanizing or dehumanizing for a student? And so regardless of whatever personal beliefs you have, it becomes very clear how we treat our students, and that is with respect, always. And so for me, these humanizing practices allow students to feel seen and heard and loved exactly as they are when they walk in our building. And that is the most important thing for me.
It's a question, if we all just ask that question every day, is this dehumanizing or humanizing? We're going to get to really important places. And Alberto, you've talked in both questions several times about the importance of resources, that the commitment in the policy, then the resources, and then actual hands-on implementation. And in the previous question, when you talked about the resources, you didn't wait for the resources to come. You had a clear vision. And so when the resources come, as they're coming now, you know what to do with them to expand that vision and to make those commitments really real with added additional support and training. We're getting great questions from the field. I want to give shouts out to all of the people I know are watching, but I'm going to pull in a question from the field. There's so many audience questions about supporting and retaining teachers of color. So I want to dive in on that a little bit. The Biden administration has proposed, you may know, a $9 billion investment to address teacher shortages and improve educator training and supports. And also, of course, to boost the diversity of the profession. And so here at the department, we know that teachers of color can have high positive impact on students of color. But only 1 in 5 teachers are teachers of color. So while at least half of our public school students are, but what can school leaders do right now to support and retain teachers of color that they do have? And what can be done to help build that ever important pipeline? And maybe we can ask our principal and maybe Alejandro to answer that.
You know, I love this question. I need 4 hours to answer it.
Yes,
right?
you do.
But I'm going, you know, as I thought about how I would respond, I want to personalize it as a parent and as a principal. First, as a parent, thinking about my 2 sons, they're both grown men now, but thinking about their high school years, if I had the option of them staying home as a Black parent, of them staying home to be homeschooled, I would seize the opportunity as opposed to sending them back to the school, which takes me to me answering from the vantage point of a principal. As a principal, all of us went into this profession, went into leadership because we felt that we had something that could effectuate change. We didn't just go into this thing because we wanted to be a principal. We felt we had something that it took in order to effectuate change. So if I'm leader of a school in the context of the question, and I've got Black and brown children, I've got children of color who have the option, their parents, of not sending their children back to school, I'm going to own that. And when that's revealed to me, I got to look at myself. I got to go here to the mirror, and I got to ask myself, what is it about my school? What is it about my leadership? What is it about our program, our staff, etc., that parents are opting not to come here? So whatever that is, that becomes my data. So I'm going to literally survey the community, survey the parents to discern what is it about this school that I would consider a great school? What is it about this school that you do not want to return back to? And then that becomes my information. And see, with that word data, I always say to folks, I say, you know, I got a better word than data. My word is story. The data is the story of the school, of the district, of the classroom, whatever it may be. So then I said, instead of looking at it as data, look at it as a story and ask yourself, do you like the story that you are reading? And then I said, beyond do you like the story you're reading? Well, guess what? You're the author of the story. So do you like what you wrote? So see, I'm going to personalize this thing so that now I bring the team together and we say, what is it that we need to do dramatically and immediately to ensure that I've got a neighborhood of young people and their parents that feel confident that we're going to provide them with a world-class education. So I'm personalizing that one because I think that as leaders, we must personalize it.
That's what the best leaders do. It's so great. And I love how you had your handy mirror prop over there. Got to look in the mirror sometimes because that's what leaders know how to do. You tell the story, make it personal, and you get wise action when you lead from that perspective. Thank you.
And I absolutely agree with that. And, you know, especially right now, I'm afraid that the teaching profession might be at risk of losing a lot of great teachers of color. And right now, that's not something that we can afford. You know, and for me, it's personal because I only joined the profession after having an inspiring teacher of color who introduced me to, you know, the field of education. So I think that, you know, if we want to retain the teachers that we have, I think it starts with listening to the great teachers that we already have in classrooms, pairing new teachers with veteran mentor teachers, and you know, in order to prevent them from feeling isolated, and also creating different affinity spaces for teachers, just so they can discuss different challenges and offer ongoing support, mentorship, and encouragement. And you know, and also ensuring that once these teachers are hired, they're not forced into disciplinary roles, which, you know, can definitely contribute to high attrition rate and burnout among teachers of color. But I do agree that I think that addressing the pipeline issue is a big issue. But I think with the $9 billion investment to address teacher shortages and support grow your own programs and HBCUs, I think that that is definitely a good start. You know, I, as the DC Teacher of the Year, definitely believe that teacher diversity is teacher quality. You know, and if we want to have effective teachers in our classroom, I believe that we need to have a diverse array of teachers in front of our students.
I bet you made your mentor proud. Is that teacher who recruited you into teaching watching right now?
I think he might be. He also went to Virginia State University and inspired me to be a first-generation college student. So he has been an inspiration for quite some time now.
Shout out to him if you want to say his name.
Yes, Mr. Harris from Virginia State. He just finished his 23rd year at Martin Luther King Middle School in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, I always say if you want to know what works, ask the people doing the work. And this teacher that recruited you into the profession, look at you now, DC Teacher of the Year. And maybe we can ask him next time on a panel some advice on this question as well. That's beautiful, and I'm glad you got to give him a shout out, and I'm so proud of you. I'm going to go.
Madam Deputy Secretary, I want to just chime in 15 seconds on something on this topic, because number one, we all welcome the level of federal support from the administration at all levels, whether it's infrastructure for our schools, whether it is in terms of protective programs under Title I, IDEA, or the recruitment of teachers. But, you know, the federal government can only go so far. And the issue of impacting teachers and their representation in schools goes back to what we know. Look, pay teachers fairly, respect the work of the teachers, establish working conditions they're actually inviting. And we will accept all the federal government money that comes our way and put it to good use. But even in the middle of economic recession, our community, on the basis of academic results, recognized that we needed to do more for teachers. So our school board had the courage to actually put a referendum before the people to increase teacher salaries. And overnight, with 72% approval of the community across all parties, all races, all ethnicities, our teachers saw an increase from 14 to 23%, catapulting them from below national salary average to above national salary average. So all I'm saying is that we always ought to be in a position of actually getting the most from the federal government, but local leadership to actually do what we can to attract the right teacher to the right classroom is equally important. And in a minority-majority community where we are all Hispanic and Black, by and large, we are actually overrepresented in terms of the talent that we hire. Who else can best represent who our children should become rather than that personally identifiable professional in the classroom? So I just wanted to throw that in. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we're happy to hear what you have to add to the conversation from on-the-ground leadership that you provide in Miami-Dade. Pedro, I'm going to go back to you and talk again about COVID-19 and what it's demanded. It's demanded that our schools and our districts have had to innovate and innovate at warp speed. And so now we're returning to our school buildings, and many of the changes that we've seen in technology and instruction and practices can and probably should remain. So as we're looking forward, how do we use what we've learned in the last 15 months or so to reimagine not just school, but what learning looks like? I always want to focus on learning as much as teaching. How do we channel what we've learned towards innovation to support equity in particular?
Yeah, great question, Cindy. And you know, I've been listening to this conversation, and what's so inspiring to me, and I want the audience to pick up on, is these are districts that we're hearing from that are faced with huge challenges related to poverty, and but none of them are saying that that's an obstacle. And what we're hearing is creativity in how they've responded. A school in DC, they said our kids need access to the laundry so they can come to school with fresh, clean clothes. And you know, this is kind of out of the box thinking is what allows us to go from measuring the problem to solving the problem. One of the things we haven't done, we've been focused on closing the achievement gap for a long time in this country, but the gaps have remained. But what we haven't done is learn from the places that have made the most progress. And that's what we've been hearing today. Districts and schools that have come up with strategies that have worked. And so that's why I want to repeat what Principal Capelli said. Our goal should not be to return to what wasn't working. Right. Our goal should be to create schools that are more responsive to the needs of kids and families. And we should all be concerned because there is a rise in homeschooling. There are more parents who say, you know, maybe school doesn't work for my child, because how often do children come home and say, wow, what a day. That was inspiring. Well, that should happen sometimes. That's what education should do. It should empower, it should challenge. And so it's very important that when equity is mentioned, it not be interpreted as mediocrity, and not be interpreted as that's just for some kids. It's for all kids. All kids need to be challenged. All kids need to be pushed. All kids need to be inspired. And those should be our goals for the reopening of schools. So, the Biden administration's done its part by making sure the resources are there. Now we have to do the work to make sure the resources are applied effectively and creatively to meet the needs of our children. If we can do that, then we will come out of this period, this very challenging period, better than we were. And that should be our goal.
Couldn't agree more. As we build back better, and what Principal Cafele said, it's not returning to normalcy, and we heard our secretary say, this is our moment. We have the resources we need, and we're not going to admire the problem, or as Pedro just said, measure the problem. We don't need to measure it. We don't need to admire it. It's time for action. The support is there, the resources are there, the knowledge is in the field, and you lean in student by student, community by community, and peel back that curtain, and look where we'll be able to go. Not return to normalcy, right, Principal Cafele? Let me give one more question here. And then we'll do a lightning round. The pandemic, I'm going to ask Alejandro and Alberto about this, how the pandemic has laid bare this long-standing disparity in physically healthy and safe school buildings. We have crumbling and outdated schools that are primarily located, unfortunately, in communities of concentrated poverty. There was a 2020 report by the Government Accountability Office that found that 1 in 4 school districts need to replace or update major systems in most of their schools. That means HVAC, plumbing, roofing, electricity, and the American Jobs Plan proposes a $100 billion investment to modernize schools that need the most help in this area. How will updated school buildings and classrooms in particular advance racial and socioeconomic justice?
Thank you for that. That's an excellent question. So, my students at Aton Elementary have seen the differences between our school and more affluent schools across town. They've seen things like other schools having turf fields and, schools without bars on the windows and that have working water fountains. And they wonder and they ask, why we don't have these things. And, that leaves me with having the difficult conversation and sharing with them that, because where we live, that translates to some of the resources that were provided. So just providing them with adequate learning spaces and learning environments helps them see that they are just as valued as any other student from across town. So it is so critical. Our students see it, our families see it, and I think the time is now to make some change.
Yeah, I will add to what Alejandro so eloquently mentioned. This is the right investment at the right time for absolutely the right reason. I mean, if you believe in the principles of justice that define our country, then environmental justice must be a consideration, not just the physical facility, the building itself, the quality of the air conditioning units, air filtration systems, the athletic facilities in the building, the existence or not of auditoria for the expression of the arts. It is an all-inclusive package that must be available equitably for all children. And the truth of the matter is, across America, let's consider one thing. Number one, the average American school was built over 50 years ago. The average American school was built in 1968. And in many schools across the country, we know exactly which zip codes particularly have not changed one bit. And that's, quite frankly, something we need to recognize. Much like what I said about teacher compensation, we, as Pedro said, we don't wait for the train to arrive necessarily for us to take our children to go to where they need to get to. Otherwise, depending on the administration and depending on economic conditions, they may be waiting for a lifetime. So back in 2012, we passed another referendum, $1.2 billion referendum, to bring technology equity, to bring renovation and new schools to our community. And guess where we started first? We started first with the communities that had waited the longest. So This is embedded in board policy, protected by board policy. The community understood exactly the projects that they were approving by zip code, by neighborhood. With that said, we need a lot more to be done. This pandemic forced us to realize that indoor air quality needs to be improved, even in recently built buildings. We need to sensitize particularly underserved communities to the environmental needs in our community. So the replacement of lighting with LED lighting, ensuring that the practices and systems of utilities are smart, not just in those high-end communities that were recently built, but everywhere. And access to technology needs to also be part of that infrastructure of support that our schools are receiving. So 100 billion, right investment at the right time, and we will add that to the 1.2 billion that we are almost done spending, audit-free, no infractions, on time, with no abuse, no waste. Government can work for its people as long as you have the right level of oversight, dedication, and leadership. So that money needs to begin to flow, because kids learning in 1968 environments is not healthy.
Thank you. Beautiful. Let me wrap with a lightning round of questions for all, just to wrap this. And if you can answer, what advice would you want to provide to educators and leaders as an immediate next step? I have a whole list of great next steps that I've captured from each of your comments today, but let's close with a lightning round on that. What is an immediate next step that they can take specifically to build more equitable practices, whether they're in a classroom, they're a classroom leader, they're a teacher, they're a school board member, or a district? What's the right next step to build more equitable practices? Lightning round.
I'll start. Thank you for that question. I would advise educators and leaders to ask the all-important question: am I doing all I can to remove barriers from our students? That question begs to be reflective. Is our culture one that reflects equitable practice from the moment a student walks through that door? Does that student know that there will be no barrier and that the sky is truly the limit? And lastly, I would include our students in on this conversation. If you really want to know what you can do to approach equity and understand it, ask your students, get their perspective. Build a policy, hold yourself accountable. The answers are there. The data, as my co-panelist said, the data will inform you. You'll look at suspension rates. You'll look at absenteeism. It's all there. It will inform you on equitable practice, what you can do, what you have not done right, and how you can improve for the future. Thank you.
I guess I'll go. You know, when I think about equity, and there's no universal definitions, game plan of what equity is. So you ask 10 people, what is equity? You're gonna get 10 different responses, and you can multiply that. But for me, as an equitable practitioner, at the core of my equity discussion, conversation, writings, thinking, whatever it is, are these three items, and I'll just leave it here in terms of the question. Number one, student individuality. Is every student in that classroom visible? Does every student in that classroom matter? Or am I sitting in a classroom invisible? Number two, student cultural identity. There's no place for color blindness nor culture blindness. That students' race, ethnicity, culture, they matter, and they must manifest in that classroom. And lastly, number three, student voice. The platform, the welcoming, to be able to express myself, my views, my ideas, my opinions, my beliefs, my perspective, my vantage point, whatever the case may be, but at the same time, the vehicle to find myself in that classroom. Am I going to graduate, and the day after graduation, I have no clue as to which way to turn, or have I found my voice in my classroom, and now I know where it is I'm headed moving forward, which can evolve, but at least while I'm there in real time, I found my voice.
I would simply say that meet all children where they are, get to know who they are, and then accelerate all of them towards their full potential. I believe sincerely, Deputy Secretary, that we're no longer facing a skill set deficit in this country. We know exactly what must be done, what can be done for children. It's a will set deficiency. Do we have the political courage to do that which is right when that which is right may be inconvenient? Are we willing to upset the apple cart by creating systems of multi-tiered support that actually allocate funding and resource and support on the basis of actual need? So that's what I would encourage educators who will be greeting students in the summer and in 21-22. Know your children, meet them where they are. You need to stretch yourself to be able to allow them to stretch and have the courage to do the right thing, even when it's inconvenient for the adults around us.
Thank you.
I would encourage all school leaders to work alongside communities to tear down the racist and biased systems that have been built up and just completely restart there. But in the meantime, always, forever, affirm and celebrate every single heartbeat in the school.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I would like to echo what a lot of my co-panelists have already said, but including students and families in the conversations about reopening, the conversation about the curriculum, the conversation about not only just events going on, but the obstacles, like Rosemary mentioned, the obstacles that students must face before they come to school. A lot of these things are unknown or behind the curtain if we don't bring them to the table, if we don't ask students, if we don't invite families to the conversation. So I think where we found success was leaning into our school community, and I think that that's definitely some advice that many school communities around the country should follow.
You want to wrap it up, Dr. Noguera?
The panelists have, I think, said so many important things. The only thing I would add is that it's about shifting the focus of the questions we ask. Yes. For too long, we've been asking, what are we going to do to raise achievement? What we haven't asked is, how do we get conditions where all children can learn, where they can all feel supported? And if you look at the places where they're thriving, where they're doing well, you'll get the answer. Yes. So we've made it more difficult than it needs to be. We need to look at where kids are thriving and do more of what it takes to produce that success. And I think the panelists have spoken to that in a variety of ways that we could learn from.
Thank you so much, everybody. So many great one-liners, but really specific strategies that we can do taking forward. And I'm going to hold on to this idea about data is a story, and we are writing this story. And we get to write the next chapter, and we know how the story will end, and it's up to us to write the ending that we know our children deserve. So I appreciate that data is a story. Student voice and agency matters. And I hear in all of your comments today, this is about being affirming of one another, of our children, of our communities, leaning in. That's how we get to equity, and we lift up what's working. We lift up, it's a process called positive deviance. You find where is something working, and then lift that and replicate that and take that to scale and put student voice and family and community engagement at the center of it. And I'm so happy that one of you weaved into your comments that the arts matter, because we can't talk about equitable learning experience if we're not talking about investment in the arts and having our students have access to the arts. Equity lives in there as well, and I know that was one of the panelists' comments today of what you've done in your district in that investment. So thank you to all of our panelists for participating today in this incredibly important discussion. And the Secretary and I are so committed to student voice and agency. I'm thrilled to introduce two extremely special students that you're going to get to meet, Miles Stokes and Willie Ochoa. They attend Capital City High School here in Washington, D.C., and you're going to get the great honor and privilege of hearing their spoken word piece. It's called No One Standing Alone. Oh, this piece perfectly captures the spirit of today's summit. I'm so happy that you're going to get to hear their voice. You will hear from them and you will understand what they say, that equity is a verb. And together we are powerful. Thank you.
Hey, Willie.
Hey, Miles, what's on your mind?
In this land of the free, who can we trust? Searching for the truth, but blindsided by lies. We're struck. Support is key. Unlocking infinite potential of school programs that benefit a select few are cruel. Striving for excellence, that motto is mandatory to raise us to a higher glory. Feels like a rush to the finish line. Deadlines coming fast. More intent and attention to our needs in the past.
True, but now we're securing our legacy in the fabric of Black lives. Because of our contribution, everyone survives. Protesting to relieve stress, visions of being our best. The hands of time we manage with firm grips to handle it. Craving social interactions and excess conscious distraction. Be focused, be strong, be vigilant. It won't be long.
Trouble arises, but lessons learned make us mature.
Focusing on the positive and ways we could be more.
Uplifting each other and showing support.
Procrastination, hate, and racism, we abort.
We work hard so we can succeed and become our dream. No one's staying alone.
No one's standing alone.
We
must
work
as
a
team.
Hello, my name is Katie Doppweiler, school psychologist and champion of early intervention. We can reduce equity issues by providing students with greater access to school-based mental health providers and proactively screening for mental health needs. This screening and teaming approach is critical to intervention efforts and is most impactful when schools are staffed with the recommended number of school psychologists, counselors, and social workers. Adequate staffing and early intervention are key to increasing equity in schools.
When I think about my own identity as a Filipino American, an immigrant, and an English learner, I have to say that equity means not using the same one-size-fits-all approach for our diverse student population. Equity means having highly trained teachers who use culturally relevant and responsive pedagogy to ensure that regardless of our students' racial, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds, and despite their limited language abilities or specific learning disabilities, every student can achieve academic success.
Despite educators' best effort to reach students during the pandemic, there is still a lot of support our students need. Students from already historically underserved backgrounds have faced disproportionate trauma as a result of the pandemic. And unfortunately, this trauma impacts how students show up in the classroom. As our students transition back to school, their well-being should be our top priority for learning to effectively happen. Thus, providing mental health services like counselors, social workers, and psychologists in schools can help level the playing field for our students, helping them work through the struggles that can make it harder to focus on learning.
To us as Student Voice and as a student, equity means centering the voices of those most marginalized by our current education system. Students of color, low-income students, students with disabilities, and more. We are the sole stakeholder group with the lived experience of learning in the context of our world's current challenges. Now more than ever, we must be essential partners in developing policies and plans to make schools more thriving and equitable places. As a student, I hope to see more student partnership and voice in efforts to advance equity.
For sticking with us and continuing now this discussion, we're going to go deeper And look at Miami in particular, one of the largest districts in the country, which makes the work there all the more remarkable. We're now joined by not only Superintendent Carvalho, but also Ms. Sylvia Diaz, the Chief Academic Officer, and Mrs. Marie Izquierdo, the Chief Strategy Officer. So I'd like to turn to you, Superintendent, and ask, give us the context, because the equity work didn't just start in Miami-Dade. This work has been going on for a long time. Can you talk a little bit about how you've been approaching this work and why it's possible in a district as large as yours that covers such a diverse and vast population, you've been able to make such steady progress over the years?
Yeah, thanks again, Pedro, for the opportunity. And I'm really pleased that two of my colleagues have joined us. Look, I think our initial recognition came out of need and the sheer appreciation for, number one, the history of South Florida, the history of our country, and how inequitable conditions have invariably led to very unfair and hurtful academic results. Not only academic results, economic results. We are a huge system, as you said, and we have an economic presence in our community. I would have to say, whether you looked at the performance of our district going back years from an academic position or angle, but also from an economic perspective in terms of benefit to minority communities in our region, how did we fare? And we didn't fare well. And so we arrived at where we are today after, number one, what Mandela would describe as truth and reconciliation. You need to lead with truth, examine truth, conduct the appropriate disparity studies, whether it is academic disparity or economic disparity, before you can reconcile as a school system the policies and practices that you need to put into place. So from an academic perspective, I can tell you that our journey has been a long one and difficult one. Are we where we want to be? Absolutely not. But do we have the foundation to get to where we need to get? Absolutely. We understand the data, we understand the story and the journey. We have made terrific reforms to educational environments, to the way we budget schools, the way we budget services and support, the way we strategize and tier the levels of support for schools and students on a basis of performance. And that's how you get to equitable environments, is by, quite frankly, creating different levels of support, different levels of funding, and providing different levels of access and opportunity to those who have lacked it. So I will leave, and by the way, that culminates now with our third iteration under my superintendency of a strategic plan with a brand new theory of action that actually focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion as the force fuel for the work over the next 5 years. And I'm sure that Maria Izquierdo will touch on that.
Would you like to jump in there, Mrs. Izquierdo?
Absolutely, and thank you for having us. So I think it was Dr. Noguera that said in the previous panel, in the main panel, being responsive to the needs of students, families, and communities, and shifting the focus of the questions that we ask. And I think that was exactly our approach in Miami-Dade. We all agree, everyone on this panel agrees that talent is equally distributed, but certainly opportunity is not. So the question that we asked ourselves is, how can we make opportunity ubiquitous for all of our students? We are the fourth largest school district in this country. We have 350,000 students. How can we make sure that all of them, to Mr. Carvalho's point, can reach their maximum potential? And so we did two things in the development of the strategic plan. Number one is that we wanted to make sure that we ask the right questions of ourselves. And so what actions are we taking, and what foci are we going to have in our actions and our decision making that it's ultimately going to impact student achievement? And so one of the things that we did as an administration under Mr. Carvalho's leadership is develop a strategic plan that has 5 basic pillars. And those pillars are rigorous academics, making sure that all students have access to advanced academic programming, and that they're all being taught to the standards on grade level. That is the expectation for all of our children. That they're coming to school to a safe, healthy, and supportive learning environment, not just physically. We've talked a lot about in the last year or so around MERV and HVAC units, but also mental health, culturally responsive schools, schools that have restorative practices, schools that have teachers that are culturally competent, that we're supporting those teachers. The third pillar in our strategic plan is a highly effective teachers, leaders, and staff. And how are we going to develop our workforce to be able to support our students adequately so they can perform optimally? Informing, engaging, and empowering our stakeholders is our fourth pillar. And our fifth pillar is, to Mr. Carvalho mentioned this a minute ago when he was talking about disparity, is making sure that we have effective and sustainable operational practices, that we're meeting the needs not only of our students, but our local community in terms of providing opportunities, bites at the apple, if you will, in terms of our businesses. And so what we did is we did an exhaustive 2-month stakeholder outreach so that we could listen to the community, listen to our parents, listen to our students, listen to our workforce, and then asking ourselves the right questions and looking at data. Data is our superpower here in Miami-Dade. And so what we started looking at under each of these 5 pillars is how does every student have access to curricula and assessments that are rigorous? Does every child have access to college and career-oriented instruction? And we can go on and on. I can explain those further. I know we're limited for time, but then asking ourselves, what would be the look-fors? What would be the look-fors in each of these pillars as evidence that we are in fact operating through the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion? And so we had more than 50 focus groups, including not only our parents, our teachers, all of our employees, our business advisory folks, but our students. And even tomorrow, we have a school board meeting tomorrow. We're bringing items to our board to approve that came from the mouths of babes, straight from the mouths of the children telling us this is what we need in order for us to be successful, in order for us to have opportunity to reach our full potential. So that's our theory of action in a nutshell, and I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. Ms. Diaz, you are the Chief Academic Officer, so it's been your job to kind of drive this engine, make sure that not only are the social needs being met, but that kids are their academic needs, that they're being challenged. Can you tell us a little bit about what that work looks like and how you envision it coming out of the pandemic going forward?
Sure. Well, we are a majority community. And so we identify as first-generation Americans, children of immigrants, English language learners. So you have a group of people who have been leading this work under Superintendent Carvalho for over 12 years who understand the challenges that a lot of these students are experiencing. We have done a number of things in our district to try and flip the game for our kids. One of the things that we've done, and we've done very successfully for exposing kids to advanced coursework, is our work around advanced placement. Over the last 5 years, we've increased the number of kids participating in advanced placement courses, children on free and reduced lunch, by over 20%. In addition to increasing participation in advanced placement, we've improved the outcomes. Our Hispanic students have increased their performance 3 and above by 15 percentage points. Our African American students' performance on advanced placement has increased by 14 percentage points. How have we done that? Well, we've helped schools to look at kids differently, to understand how to identify children, how to provide supports to children for these courses. We've marketed to parents. So it's not just the schools that we're asking, offer these things, identify the kids. We're letting the parents know that these are opportunities at their schools. There's compliance. We've said to every school, you must offer a minimum threshold of advanced placement. Excuse me. And that threshold has changed over the last several years. So we started with 4 courses, and now we're up to 10 courses that need to be offered. So we've incorporated a lot of different things to try and support kids and to try and flip that scenario.
Thank you for sharing that. And I know that early childhood education has been central to your efforts. Can any of you speak to that? What role investments in early childhood education? We know that kindergarten, the gaps don't start at kindergarten, that they often emerge well before that.
Sure. So we are in Florida, there's a voluntary pre-K program that funds a 3-hour-a-day pre-K. And what we've done is that we've used our Title I funds to make sure that our children in Title I schools can have a full day of preschool. And so we have over 200 classes of preschool funded through Title I. Next year, we're going to be using our ESSER funds to extend that. We'll have another 30 classes of pre-K for our children. Our pre-K programs, a lot of parent outreach, they involve a lot of community partners, and our outcomes, frankly, are very good. 73% of our pre-K students are ready for kindergarten when they're tested upon entering kindergarten.
I think a big contributor to that also, Dr. Noguera, is under Mr. Carvalho's leadership. Shortly after he became superintendent, he insisted on having a higher level of credentialing for our pre-K teachers, higher than that is required by the state. And so in my humble opinion, you're dealing with a much higher quality of instructor with a paraprofessional and aide in those classrooms as well. And I think that adds a lot of value to what they're learning and how they're learning.
And that, by the way, Pedro, it goes to the issue of equity, right? I mean, if you want to build towards equity, then these children come from under-resourced environments prior to their very first day in school, in pre-K. Hopefully, they will get more of a good thing. And for us, a good thing needs to go far beyond the 3 hours of early childhood education that the state pays for. At the level of credential, as Marie mentioned, of professionalization of the individual that's going to be in front of that child. So we try to, not that we try, we do. In everything we do, we understand where children are and then ask the question, what will it take in terms of available research and the resources we would need to catapult, to elevate that child towards maximum potential. And that includes the resource of the teacher, that includes the environment, that includes the time on task, that includes the support of the parent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why, and this is my time to pitch, I do hope that as part of any federal infrastructure investment, early childhood education is seriously and significantly concerned or addressed and considered. Otherwise, we will be paying at a premium later in life rather than at a discount through early childhood investment.
Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for, again, shedding some light on how you're using data to guide your efforts. Because, I think we often hear skepticism about the use of data. But what we're hearing from you is that you're measuring what matters. And you're looking at outcomes and asking good questions about whether or not the investments you're making are changing outcomes for kids. What we haven't heard you talk about is instability, political distractions. Superintendent, you have longer tenure, I believe, than any urban superintendent right now in the country. Can you talk a little bit about that, how you've managed to withstand the political winds? This is a turbulent time in our country, but it's difficult to make progress if there's lots of change, especially in education. Could you address that point?
And that's a regrettable conclusion we come to, right? Is that there is a dearth of stability of leadership, particularly at the mega school district level. When you look at certainly New York, Chicago, LA, Houston, Broward County soon, there is a real problem in America that's brewing as far as leadership is concerned. So, how long do you need to actually implement the good practices we've been discussing? You don't get to do it if you're on the job 2 years. If every 2 years, every 2.5 years, you have not only a new superintendent, but a whole new leadership team, maybe with a different vision, a different theory of action. And that's not productive. So, look, it's not been easy. Certainly, there have been political distractions at all levels, changes in accountability, systems. Our team, we have lived through no fewer than 4 significant shifts in accountability requirements in the state and 3 at the federal level. You deal then with the shifts in terms of economic conditions. So we've survived 2 significant economic recessions. But here's what I'm about to say. Leadership matters. Having your belief system aligned with your skill set and your will set is important. Having terrifically courageous people around you that are truth tellers and truth doers is absolutely indispensable. And I'm blessed with having a team that has been with us for a while, and a team that produces other great team members. As some of my own team have become superintendents and provosts and vice presidents of universities. They're recruitable. Everybody wants that kind of talent. But at the end of the day, Pedro, I think the 13 years I've survived as superintendent are very much a part of decoding board superintendent dynamics and being able to navigate tough issues, being deeply in touch with the community, whether it is organized labor, the community of parents, students, the business community, philanthropic community, having well entrenched presence at the federal and state level, for they are your investors. And then really, as I said, bringing the brightest minds to the table to look at all these puzzle pieces and fit them together in a way that advantages and elevates kids.
We're running out of time. So one last question back to Ms. Izquierdo and Ms. Diaz. We've told, so you have a stable district, but you're still faced with challenges. And one of those challenges is the issue of trauma in the lives of kids. Just briefly, in the time remaining, what's the strategy on addressing trauma as kids experience it and then show up in school?
Maybe I can start and Sylvia might pick it up at the end. I think that the first and foremost, we need to recognize that our teachers have also been through a traumatic event, and the adults in the buildings have been through a traumatic event. Typically, because we're in the kid business, we immediately try to focus our immediate attention on the kids, but the grown-ups that are providing support to students have also been through something rather traumatic. And so really trying to make sure that they have the resources and that they have the supports in place so that they can adequately support the children in their building, I think is really important. A couple of years ago, we have a very healthy student services department, but in addition to that, we opened a mental health unit, a mental health department here at the central office. We have social workers that are working under an assistant superintendent that are providing mental health supports to schools and referrals to outside agencies. We recognize that we can't do this work ourselves. No school district in the country can, not with the massive amounts of students that we have enrolled in our schools. And so our partnerships with our community and public and private partnerships are vitally important to us, and working with communities that we can bridge our families to, so that when we need to refer students, that there is a mutual exchange of information and that children get the support and families get the support that they need. We're not shy about that. We don't hide that. We don't try to mask that we have students that are in need of trauma-centered support. And so we embrace that, and we provide the resources at the central and school site level to address that. And we honor our students and our faculties that way. Sylvia, I don't know if you wanted to add anything there.
Yeah, and I just said, again, we're running out of time on the next panel, so if you could keep it brief, please.
Absolutely. Just summer school. We're kicking off the return to school with a very big summer school program, and we are including for the first time our counselors, our mental health staff in our summer school program, and we're going to be focusing on SEL strategies every day of summer school.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Miami. Thank you for being a source of inspiration to the whole country, and I wish you continued success.
Pedro, thank you for the humane voice and encourage you to continue to demonstrate. Now on the West Coast, you're welcome on the Southeast Coast anytime.
I'll be back.
Take care.
Thank you. So we're going to turn now to White Plains. For those of you who don't know, a suburb of New York City, and often we assume that suburban schools are kind of challenge-free, but we've already heard from School Board President Rosemary Eller that that's not the case. Now she's joined by Yolanda Rodriguez, who is the dual language instructional coach and a 13-year veteran educator, and a rising 12th grade senior, Rena Strangalini, who is with us. So Ms. Eller, why don't you get us started? Tell us a little bit about White Plains and the way you've approached the unique challenges facing schools in your district.
Thank you so much. And I understand the time constraints, and I will keep it brief so that we can hear from Yolanda and Rena. So in White Plains, we serve over 7,000 students in 9 facilities. Whatever our students need, whether it is food, health services, broadband, clothing, whatever they need, we get it to them. And that is the essence of equity. We have a wide range of course offerings, and we support each child in each child's individual success. We know their success is our success. What White Plains has done, and I'll talk a little bit about what we did with our equity committee. We established a broad equity committee, a committee that coupled with our building level equity committees. And most importantly, we included our students, their voice on our equity committee. As I said before, students will inform you. They will tell you what you need to know. They will make you look at the data. You don't have to wonder what they are saying. They are very intentional with their feedback. If I could just talk briefly about, at a time when transportation was an issue for some students, right? Making a decision whether to pay a fee to ride the bus or have food at home. Our students spoke to us about this a while ago. And as a result, transportation is completely free in White Plains. Our equity committee drafted recommendations on school climate, the code of conduct, restorative justice, which is so important, dress code, communication, access to courses. We offer all kids access to a rigorous course of their choosing. Wherever they want to go, we will support them. There is no barrier. There is not a no that you cannot do this. We offer and we make it so that they are successful.
Ms. Eller, let me see if I can bring Ms. Rodriguez in. You bring that classroom perspective, Ms. Rodriguez, the perspective of a 13-year educator who's been doing this work for many years. And we know that the diversity in White Plains is considerable linguistic diversity as well. Can you talk about that work and how it's been approached in White Plains?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Noguera. I have to say that when the work began, it was a tremendous amount of difficult conversations that were had. I think I was surrounded by amazing community members, leadership, and other colleagues and students that made it their business to have these difficult conversations. And we began the work with very open and honest examination of trauma, bias, and privilege across the district. And we created this safe space for all of us, the adults in the room and the students in the room, to be able to express themselves and speak up. And I think that because we have students in that committee and listening to the students' voices, we now have a very clear path in centering our work in equity as the way that we operate in White Plains. Every day, we're taking steps towards equity and equitable practices across all programs. We do have a big number, about 1,200 English language learners, not including former English language learners and families that speak other languages at home. We speak about 26 languages among all of those English language learners. So just the work across that group of students and our special education students, understanding that everyone is capable if they're given that opportunity was important in that work. Moving forward, we know that we want our school community to continue to have equity training. It took us 2 years to arrive at that policy that Ms. Eller was speaking about. 2 years of very hard emotional work, but we're very proud of that, and we are excited about continuing that.
Thank you for that. And I'm so glad you brought Rena to this discussion, the student perspective. Rena, maybe you could talk about student voice and how is your voice, the voice of other students, incorporated into this work, and what difference does it make?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to say that White Plains already does a great job in ensuring that our teachers and faculty at all grade levels represent a variety of races and backgrounds. But equity doesn't just end with having teachers of color. So my peers and I also emphasize the importance of a curriculum that reflects us. Over the past few years, our district's commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion is evident in the lessons and literature in our classrooms, but also in the events and clubs at our schools. My peers and I also discussed the importance of starting discussions about equity and inclusion at a younger age. For me, I didn't get to read books about Asian American characters and cultures by Asian American authors until I got to high school. As students, we become more educated, compassionate, and inclusive members of society the earlier we learn about and celebrate people of various cultures, abilities, sexual orientation, and backgrounds.
Thank you for that. And that's awesome, because we know those topics are often controversial. I think often much more controversial to the adults than to the young people. And so it's great to hear your perspective on this. We're going to need to bring this to a close. I want to bring Miami back into the conversation. We're hearing, White Plains is much smaller than Miami, but we're hearing some common themes here about how to approach the work and how to involve stakeholders, students, parents, teachers, administrators, and most importantly, the board and the broader public. We've as a nation have been really focused on the question of accountability in education. Why is it so important that we think about accountabilities involving all of these stakeholders? And because I think each of you in your own way has demonstrated that when everyone is accountable, we can make more progress.
I'll approach it this way. And by the way, let me thank Board President Eller for her leadership and the so poised and intelligent Rena and Yolanda's professionalism and dedication to White Plains. Pedro, I think you're onto something there. Look, we all recognize in our respective communities or across the country that the table of need that represents all of the opportunity gaps that kids face, all of those needs, the table of need is immense. So not a single person can fill all of those needs simultaneously. What that means is you need the community as a whole and all of its representation, the policy elected body, the teacher, the parent organization, the student, every voice at the table in recognition of the need, part of the conversation to address a strategy to address it, but then remain at the table long enough to be accountable for the implementation of the practice, the measuring of the results, and then the courage to actually determine, did it work, did it not work? What do we need to do different? And so accountability is true accountability in systems like ours, regardless of size, if everybody shares in it. But you cannot hold people accountable that were not part of the conversation from the very beginning. So you need to be at the table that recognizes the problem, at the table that defines the possible solution, at the table that measures the implementation, and yes, at the table that examines the result.
And how about White Plains? How are you thinking about these issues of accountability and stakeholder involvement?
I would just add to that, and thank you so much, Alberto. I would just add to that. We're talking about equity. We're talking about bringing all the voices to the table. How can we not, when considering equity, not bring all of the diverse voices to the table? And in our case, we drafted a policy which holds us accountable for what we say we're going to do. And not only that, we will review and update and continue to work towards refining and improving our equity practice. I will leave Yolanda if you wanted to add anything, or Rena.
And Yolanda, if you could address, because one of the complaints we often hear is, well, the teachers union gets in the way of this work. You've been a teacher, an active member of the union. Talk about that part as well, if you would.
Yeah, so I've been part of various unions. I've actually been teaching for 23 years, 13 in White Plains. I do have to say, we have a strong union leadership partnership in White Plains. I've seen through this pandemic how our reopening committee and teachers have worked really closely with administration and the superintendent and the Board of Education. So I'm proud to say that our White Plains Union is a very collaborative group of colleagues. And in terms of your questions about equity, for me as an educator and instructional coach now, it just goes beyond that curriculum, responsive curriculum and those multicultural diverse books. I think it's important that we continue to understand that equity needs to touch every part of the student's life within that community. I am an English language learner myself, and I strongly identify with English language learners and other students and colleagues that have the same experience. So when I see some of the inequalities that happen because of language diversity or sexual orientation, there's so much to it. Different size bodies. There's so much to it that we need to continue to examine, not only in policy, but also in practice, in conversations, in the ways we are labeling or not labeling or describing our students and their practices in their communities. All of those things need to be part of the conversation. So as a practitioner, I feel that that is also important to bring when we are defining accountability and equity.
Thank you for that. And Rena, let me bring you back again, because you're a student. You experience school differently than the adults often. And how would you say you've seen schools create the environment where young people like yourself can get the education they need and thrive?
I think one of the most important things that schools can do in school districts is to ask for students' feedback, include them in the conversations, because students also have a responsibility to speak up and push for the equity, inclusion, and diversity in classrooms and curriculums. It cannot just come from the adults and the teachers. Students have to be involved in that decision.
Thank you. Let's go back to Miami and get Ms. Diaz and Ms. Izquierdo in to the conversation. You're responsible, again, for monitoring this work. What are you looking for to make sure at the kind of the central office level that the schools that need help get the help they need, and that the families that are struggling are getting the support they need?
So you want to take it or you want me to do it? Happy to do it. Okay. So one of the things that we look at is we look at all kinds of data. We have very robust dashboards that provide us information. Some of this information is the frequency of it might be quarterly, might be every semester, might be annually. So it depends on what we're looking at. If we're looking at student achievement, or if we're looking at code of conduct violations, if it's parent satisfaction, we have a myriad of variables that we're tracking. We do keep that in a repository, which we're developing now an even more robust dashboard for our internal monitoring. During cabinet meetings, Mr. Carvalho will, on a monthly basis, call out certain pillars in our strategic plan and see what progress we have made and how can we collectively across bureaus solve for maybe challenges that were not anticipated that are causing like an impediment to that action being executed. So those systems are in place. We also our community engagement is really important to us. We have a very rich, we didn't have a chance to talk about that, Parent Academy, which actually Mr. Carvalho was the one that created the Parent Academy here in Miami-Dade when he was an associate superintendent. And that has just grown by leaps and bounds over 3 different, more than 3 really, but 3 languages spoken, material provided in a myriad of languages. Anytime, anywhere learning for parents, you can use keywords. I need help with X, I need help with Y. How help my child that may be having suicidal ideations? How do I help get remedial studies or remediation for my child, tutoring? Anything that you can think of is part of the curriculum for the parents as well. So monitoring, you having really robust systems, monitoring the data as it is happening, like on the fly, and then having practices in place that are constantly trying to correct and accelerate the work that we're trying to do is really the way we make the sausage.
Thank you. And unfortunately, we only have 2 minutes left. So Ms. Diaz, if you could keep it brief.
Sure. The only thing I want to add to that is that especially with the accountability piece, and as Marie indicated, all the different systems we have in place and the things that we're tracking, we also want to make sure that kids who are getting remedial classes, that are getting additional help, are not losing out on enrichment activities, that kids are getting opportunities to participate in art and in music and in Spanish classes. And those things are not disadvantaged or downplayed for kids in certain communities as a result of accountability and academics. So we're looking at all of those things to make sure we maintain that balance.
And Pedro, if I can just really quickly, it was really hard for us to change the culture of the organization from one of equality to equity. That was not easy. When we have folks that are elected by constituents across all different types of zip codes, everyone naturally is going to pool resources and want to have the most resources for their constituencies, for the communities that they were elected into. And so changing that mindset with our governance leaders about it's not equal, it's really those that have less get more, and understanding that in certain cases, you may have a critical mass of resources going here and not equitable distribution across all of our zip codes. That was a really hard nut to crack. And I think we've gotten there in Miami-Dade. And I think that's a really big part of our success.
Thank you for that. And I like what your reminder that equality treats everyone the same and ignores those differences. Equity is about responding to the needs and acknowledging the differences. I always say anyone with any family with more than one child understands equity. And if we think about it that way, I think it gets a lot more simple. So I want to thank both districts, thank all of you for your thoughtful comments and helping others out there to think about this work. We can't allow equity become nothing more than a slogan. It has to be real, it has to be measurable, it has to be a source of vision to guide this work. So thank you for your work and your vision. We're going to close with some final comments by Dr. Anton Reese. He is the president of West Kentucky Community and Technical College, who will give us some final remarks for this Equity Summit.
I'm Dr. Anton Reese, president of West Kentucky Community and Technical College. We are a 5-time top-ranked community college in the nation by the Aspen Institute, and in 2021 we are ranked among the top 5 colleges in the nation. Creating equitable opportunities in education calls for breaking from the norms that you've heard discussed by the panelists and presenters today. That creativity to reach all students can't stop once a student graduates from high school, however. It is incumbent upon higher education to be innovative when it comes to ensuring an equitable education for students as well. At WKCTC, I was fortunate to bring a regional tri-state vision, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, with a laser focus on engaging underrepresented, diverse, and lower socioeconomic groups to come to college. We did that by taking our entire leadership team throughout every county in the tri-state region, engaging African American and Hispanic leaders in the various communities. We continued with a series of breakfasts, also attended worship services as ways in which we could continue to foster trust, provide outreach, and to work with our leaders in these diverse communities. Our college was also fortunate in December 2020 to receive a $15 million philanthropic gift from Mackenzie Scott. From that, we developed a WKCTC Guaranteed Scholarship or Commitment to DEI. These scholarships provide opportunities for African Americans and Hispanics and lower socioeconomic students to be able to come to college without any financial barriers. Equitable education is a commitment. We must all make our students successful from pre-K to PhD and everywhere in between, and that equity is infused in K-12 education. From there, we will then see self-assured, compassionate, and brilliant students entering institutions of higher education, because equity in education does not only prepare students for higher education, but for the real world and to be leaders in this global society. As president of college, I set the tone by viewing the differences that students bring as strengths and ensure that they see themselves represented everywhere while learning in front of the classroom, curriculum, in leadership, and certainly leading schools. So it is very important that this conversation does not end here, but as you go into your summer planning, take these lessons and conversations you heard today back with you and share with your colleagues. We're all in this together. I can't wait to see what is next in the Equity Summit series. Good luck.